Good day, students. Welcome to part 4 of the ELM placement test review. We're going to be going over questions 41 to 60, the completion of the Algebra 1 component of the ELM test. Remember, this document is accessible on www.csumathsuccess.org/exam_prep, and you can have other practice material and resources available on that site. So let's start with number 41. It's assessing our knowledge of distribution and also the properties of exponents. We have negative 2r times 3r squared minus 2rs. So with this one, we just distribute 2r, negative 2r to both sides. So minus times positive is negative, negative 6. This is r to the 1 since it has no power, so it's r to the third. You add the exponents anytime you're multiplying. And then minus times minus is plus. Anytime you multiply or divide the same signs, you always end up with a plus, okay? The signs are different, is also minus. 2 times 2 is 4, r times r is r squared because there's a 1 here, 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then you have the s, all right? So your answer to number 41 is D, okay? All right, let's move to number 42. Number 42 is also assessing our knowledge of distribution, the distributive property, x minus 6 times 3x minus 4. All right, so we're going to distribute this. So x to both of them, and then negative 6 to both of them, okay? All right, so what's x times 3x? 3x squared. X times 4 is 4x. Minus 6 times 3x is minus 18x. Minus 6 times minus 4 is positive 24. Okay? Alright, notice how I lined up like terms, so I'm just going to add it downwards, and then that'll be the answer. So we're going to have 3x squared minus 22x plus 24. And then your answer for 42 is A. Okay? Alright, let's move on to 43. Number 43, we are factoring trinomials, quadratic trinomials. So there are different ways you can do this. You can use the X game, you can use the box method, or guess and check. I like to use the X game because it's cool. So I'm going to have AC on the top and B on the bottom. Okay. AC is the coefficient of the square times the last term, C, and then B is the middle term. Okay. So AC is negative 8 and B is 2. So what's the numbers times to give you that and add to give you that? 4 and negative 2 will suffice here, okay? So if we plug it in, we're going to have x squared plus 4x minus 2x minus 8. So we'll factor minus 8. So we'll factor by grouping. We're going to have, take out x from the first two, x plus 4. Take out negative 2 from the second one, x plus 4. Alright, so these two terms that are common, this one and this one, we can factor it out, x plus 4, and then we're left with x and then negative 2, alright, and then times x minus 2. Alright, so there goes the two factors. So which one of these show up in the options for 43? X plus 4, no. X minus 2, yes. The answer is B. Okay? Alright, let's move on to question 44. We're still working on distribution. So 44, we have what is 3x to the third y times negative 2x squared y to the third. Remember, anytime you're multiplying exponents, you always add the powers, okay? So put a 1 in the y, since there's nothing there. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. X to the third times x to the second. You add the powers as x to the fifth. Y to the first times y to the third. You add the powers as y to the fourth. Your answer to 44 is A. Okay? Alright, let's take a look at 45. If you have a binomial, 4 plus 8x divided by a monomial expression, it's the same thing as dividing both terms by that single monomial expression. Okay, so if you have 4 plus 8x divided by 2, it's the same thing as dividing each term by that monomial expression. 4 divided by 2 plus 8x divided by 2. If I reduce that, 4 divided by 2 is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4x. 2 plus 4x is the answer. 45 is C. Okay? Alright, number 46. Let's take a look at number 46. X to the negative 2. If you have a negative exponent, that just means you have to reciprocate your expression. Okay, so this minus means reciprocate this and keep the 2. So since this was over 1, if we reciprocate it, we're going to have 1 over x to the second power. Alright? So that's what a negative exponent means. So the answer here is A. Okay? Alright, let's move on to number 47. 47, in number 47 we have, let's see, 47. If 2az minus 5z equals 2, then what is the value of z? So basically we're solving this equation for z. So to solve this equation for z, what we have to do is basically get z by itself in this equation, or isolate z, okay? If we can isolate z, then we're done. Okay? Alright, so how do you isolate z? You notice that z is common on these two sides here, so I can factor it out. See, z is coming here, it's coming here. So if I factor out z, it's as though I was dividing, right? If you factor out a common term, it's as though I was dividing this by z and dividing that by z. That's what factoring is, right? So this one goes away and that one goes away. So what you're left with is basically 2a minus 5 equals 2. So I finally isolate z by itself. I need to get rid of what's next to z, which is 2a minus 5. So divide both sides by that binomial expression, 2a minus 5, 2a minus 5, and then this side 2a minus 5. So that gives us z equals 2 over 2a minus 5. Okay? So that goes your final answer. Alright, so 48. Let's take a look at 48. Solving algebraic equations with variables on both sides. You have, where's my mouse? There you are. We have 4x minus 1 equals 5x plus 3. So we need to collect like terms. I need all the variables on the right and all the numbers on the left. It doesn't matter how you do it, but if I move the small one to combine with a bigger positive, it saves me a step of dividing by a negative number. Okay, so how about I subtract 4x from both sides? That will move the 4x to the right. And to move this 3 to the left, I can do the opposite of adding 3, which is subtracting 3 from both sides. Okay, so if I do that, these are opposites, so they cancel out. Minus 1 minus 4, the signs are the same, so you keep the sign and add the numbers. 5 minus 4, numbers signs are different, you subtract and keep the sign of the bigger one, so you just have 1x. And these two are opposite, so they just cancel each other out. So basically, x is negative 4. Okay? Alright, so the answer to number 48 is A. Okay? Alright, now let's move on to, alright, so 49, we have 3x minus d equals c. It says if 3x minus d equals c, then what is x? Then x is what? So basically we're doing the same thing here. We're solving for x. We're trying to get x by itself. So we have 3x minus d equals c. We need to get rid of d first and then the 3, okay? So to get rid of the d, we add d to both sides, and that gives us 3x equals c plus d. Divide both sides by 3, and then your final answer, x equals c plus d over 3. Okay? So the answer is E. Alright, let's move on to question number 50. Question 50. Question 50, we have a rates problem, combined rates problem. Make it a little bit smaller. So it said Melly can paint a certain room in about 5 hours, and Alicia can paint the same room in 4 hours. Approximately how many hours will it take Melly and Alicia to paint the room if they work together? So the formula for combined rate, combined work rate, is as follows. So for that, if you have RA plus RB all the way to Rn, combined work rate is going to be 1 over RA plus 1 over RB plus 1 over Rn equals 1 over the combined rate. Okay, so if you add the reciprocal of all the times that they had, or the work rate, the times that they had, that will tell you what your combined time is going to be. Okay, so that's basically how it works. So this is the combined work rate, also for times too. That's basically how it works. Okay. All right. So yeah, basically this I was supposed to write it as time. So basically 1 over time of the first one plus 1 over time of the second one plus 1 over time of the final one equals 1 over total time. Okay, total time. All right. So anytime you're asking about combined work times, this is the formula you use. We're not doing rate for this one. So this is the formula you use. You just add the reciprocals and equal it to 1 over the combined reciprocal. Okay. So in this problem, let's just see what we're looking for. Let x equals time for Haley and Alicia. Okay. So to do this one, we're gonna go 1 over 5. This is for 1 over Alicia's Millie's time plus 1 over 4. This is Millie's time, and Alicia's time is 1 over 4. That is equal to 1 over their combined time, which is x. Okay. So if we solve this equation, then that will basically tell us what the combined time is. So to solve this, we have to add these two fractions. So to add these two fractions, we have to find the LCD. So what we do is I multiply this one by 4 top and bottom, and then multiply this side by 5. Why? Because the LCD of 4 and 5 is simply 20. Okay, so you're going to have 4 over 20 plus 5 over 20 equals 1 over x. Okay, if I combine these two, I'll have 9 over 20 equals 1 over x. Alright, so to finish this off, I can just cross multiply. I'll have 9x equals 20. And then I'll divide both sides by 9. And then I'll have x equals 20 over 9, which is 2 to 9. Right? So it says approximately how many? So let's approximate. If I want to approximate this is basically approximately 2 hours. Okay, they work together. So your answer for this problem is B. Okay, and don't forget the formula. 1 over time for Alicia plus 1 over time for Millie equals reciprocal of combined time, TA plus TB, TM. Okay, so in order to get their combined time, just do the sum of the reciprocal of their individual times, and then 1 over the combined time will be the right side of the equation. Okay, so this is the formula I used to generate this equation right here. Okay, so there you have it. All right, let's move on to question number 51. Sorry, it's page. Okay, just extend it. All right, so 51. It says Mario paddled his canoe upstream for 3 hours, where he then turned around and paddled it back to the starting point. It took him only 1 hour. If the river flows at a speed of 3 miles per hour, how fast could Mario paddle his canoe in still water? Okay, so let's define what we're looking for as x. So let x equals Mario's speed in still water. Okay, still water. So don't forget this formula for distance rate time problem is called the DIRT formula. DIRT means distance equals rate times time. Okay, distance equals rate times time. So let's say that this is we're going, this is downstream. This is downstream. And this is upstream, okay? Let's say the whole length from here to here is D, okay? Is the distance. The distance doesn't change, okay? So when going up, when it was going up, we had when you're going up, upstream, you basically have D distance equals rate going up times time going up. Okay, this is when going up. So what is the rate when going up? The rate when going up is basically his rate minus the rate of the flow of the water. Since when he's going this way, the water is going the water is flowing this way at 3 miles per hour. So when you go, whatever his rate is x, so he's going in this direction at x. So they're going in opposite directions. So basically, the distance going up, the rate upstream is going to be his rate, which is x, minus 3. Why is it minus? Because the flow of the water is going in the opposite direction and it's slowing him down. So you have to minus it, right? Times the time upstream. How long did it take him to go upstream? The time upstream is 3. Okay? So that's what we have. So basically, the distance when going up is 3x minus 9. Okay? How about when going down? We're going to use the same formula. D equals the rate downstream times the time downstream. Okay, remember the DIRT formula, distance equals rate times time, okay? Alright, so we're going to do that one now. So for this one, the distance is going to be, when he's coming back down, he's going to be paddling at the same rate, right? Now he's coming back down at x miles per hour. But the water is flowing at x at 3 miles per hour. So are we going to add or subtract? If they're going in the same direction, it's going to go faster, right? So that basically means you're going to add. You do the opposite of what you did here. So it's going to be his rate plus the rate of the water, which is 3 miles per hour, times the time. It took him only 1 hour to get back. That makes sense, right? Because if the water is flowing with him, then it's going to make him go faster. So the distance, which is constant, the same, is x plus 3. So I have two equations here. This equation, let's call this one, and this equation 2. Since they're both D, I can set them equal to each other, right? Using the substitution property of equality. So I can have 3x minus 9 equals x plus 3 because I know that D equals D. If I can get x by itself here, I'm done. So what I'll do is I'll subtract x from both sides. And that'll give me 2x. That'll give me 2x minus 9 equals 3. Add 9 to both sides. 2x equals 12. Divide both sides by 2. We have x equals 6. So the answer is D. 6 miles per hour is how fast he was paddling. Okay. All right. Now let's move along to question number 52. Question 52. It says, what's the slope? So slope, remember your slope formula. Slope is rise over run. So it's basically y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay. So let's label the points here so we don't make mistakes. We have the first point is 2, 2. And the second point is 4, 3. This is x1, y1. And this is x2, y2. So the slope is basically going to be 3 minus 2, y2 minus y1 over 4 minus 2. Okay, which is 1 over 2. And the answer is C. Alright, number 53. It says, which of the following lines is parallel to the line with equation 2i plus 4x equals 3? So for this one, what do you know if two lines are parallel? What on earth does that mean? If two lines are parallel, that means they have the same rise and run, right? That's why they never intersect. If they have the same rise and run, then their slopes are the same. Okay, so keep that in mind. If two lines are parallel, then they have the same slope. Okay? They have the same. Alright? Okay, so this line we have 2y plus 4x equals 3. Is not so that standard form, but if we have it in this form, if you want to find the slope, you can get y by itself and then look for m. We could do that here to find the slope, or we could use a shortcut. So let me put it in slope intercept form, and then or I can use another trick. Let me put it in slope intercept form. So for that one, I can get y by itself here, so I'll subtract 4x from both sides. And then I'll have 2y equals negative 4x plus 3. Divide everything by 2. So I'm going to have y equals negative 4 over 2 is negative 2x plus 3 over 2. So the slope of the original line is the coefficient of x, which is negative 2. So any of these that has a slope of negative 2, that will be my answer. Okay, so let's take a look at A. So for A, we have y plus 2x equals 3. Does this have a slope of negative 2? I don't know. Let's get y by itself. Okay, so let's subtract 2x from both sides. And then you have y equals negative 2x plus 3. So m equals negative 2. So these two have the same slope, that means they're parallel, so your answer is A. Okay, so the answer to this one is A. Alright, let's move on to question number 54. It says, which of the following has a graph slope of negative 2? Okay? So, if the slope is negative 1 over 2, slope is negative 1 over 2 for number 54. That means you're going to go down 1, it's a negative rise, and run 2, okay? So which of these looks like you're going down 1 and running negative 2? This line is going up, left to right, so it can be this. This line is going up, left to right, so it cannot be this. So it's either A, B, or E, okay? Because they're going down. That's what negative slope is all about. So let's take a look at this. This one, you're going down 1, 2 to this point and going over 1. So the slope of this one is negative 2 over 1. That's not a match. That's not what we want. Let's take a look at this one, D. This one I go down 1. Good. Negative 1. And then I go down 1 to this point. And then I go over 1, 2. This point to this point, which is 2. So the slope here is negative 1/2. That's exactly what I want. Okay? So the answer is D. Okay? So answer to number 54 is D. Alright, let's move along to question 55. It says, if points 2 and 4 lie on the line y equals x plus b, then b must be what? So in this one, what we're going to do is basically substitute the values of x and y and find out what b is. Okay, so we have the equation. This is 55. We have the equation y equals 6x plus b in the points 2, 4. This is x and this is y. So we're going to plug in 4 equals 6 times 2 plus b. Now let's get b by itself. So 4 plus equals 12 plus b. Okay? Subtract 12 from both sides. And then we're going to have b equals 4 minus 12 is negative 8. Okay? So the answer to 55 is B. Alright, 56. 56. We have the question, negative 3x is less than 5 is equivalent to what? So negative 3x less than 5. To get x by itself, divide both sides by negative 3. If you divide both sides by negative 3, then you're going to have x. Anytime you divide by negative, you switch inequality from less than to greater than negative 5/3. Okay, so your answer here is D. Okay, a lot of distractors here to make you choose the wrong answer. So the answer is D here. Okay, all right. Now let's move on to question number 57. It says which is equivalent to that equation there. So 57, which is equivalent to 1 minus 2x less than or equal to 2 plus x. All the options have x by themselves, so in order to determine equivalence here, we have to solve completely. This is not a partial solve. This problem requires a complete solve. Okay, so let's see. I want to move the x's to the left and the numbers to the right, so I subtract x from both sides, and I'll because this one gets rid of this x, because this is plus x, so minus an x on both sides, and we'll get rid of this from the right side. I want positive 1 to the right, so I do its opposite, which is minus 1, like that. Okay, so we're going to have these two are opposites, they cancel out. These two are added to negative 3x is less than or equal to 2 minus 1 is 1. Divide both sides by negative 3. Anytime you divide by negative, you switch the inequality, so you have x is greater than or equal to negative 1/3. Okay, so your answer is A. All right, moving along to question 58. All right, so 58. It says a car travels 80 miles on 3 gallons of gas. At the same rate, how many miles will the car be expected to travel on 5 gallons of gas? So we're gonna do this using equivalent fractions. We have miles on the top, and then we have gallons on the bottom. Okay, so if we have 80 miles per 3 gallons, is gonna give us says how many miles of gallons would be expected. So it's going to give us what we don't know what we're looking for. Let's call it x over 5. Okay, so let's say x equal, let's say let x basically be the expected mileage for 5 gallons. Okay, so in this setup I have the miles are the numerators and the gallons are the denominators. So we have 3, 5, 3, 5, and then the corresponding miles on the top. So for 3 gallons, you have 80 miles. It's 80 miles per 3 gallons. And then a certain unknown number of miles per 5 gallons. So I just use x there to make it easy for us to generate an equation, okay? You can call it whatever variable you want. So we need to solve this ratio right here. 80 over 3 equals x over 5. It's proportional equation. So to do this, we can just cross multiply. Okay, just cross multiply. You have 5 times 8 is 400 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3. And then you have x equals 400 over 3. If you divide it out, you're going to have 3 goes into 4, 1. And 10, 3. And the 1 in 10, 3. And a third. Okay? A third miles. So that's what you have. The answer to this is D. Okay. All right. Let's move on to question 59. For 59, it says a weather balloon is released and as it rises in the air, it records a temperature in degrees Celsius as shown in the table above. If the temperature continues to decrease at a constant rate, the temperature at 5,500 feet will be. So let's see if we can observe the pattern here. Every 1,000 degree drop results in a 3-degree drop. Okay, so for 1,000, 1,000 you're at 23. Okay, when it drops to 2,000, you came down to 20. So every 1,000 degree drop goes down by negative 1,000. I mean, if it goes down by negative 1,000, so basically we're adding 1,000 degrees, because we're doing the opposite right now. The temperature drops by negative 3. Okay, and that pattern continues. So 2,000 drops down to 3,000. So to 3,000, you drop down to another 1,000. This one comes down to 17. Okay, and then let's keep that pattern going. Okay, how about 4,000? 4,000, you need to subtract 3. 3 minus 17 is 14. And then 5,000, you subtract another 3, which is 11. So what I'm doing is I'm just subtracting negative 3, subtract another negative 3. And then if I go down another 1,000 to 6,000, I gotta subtract another 3, which takes me to 8, right? Okay. The question is asking for 5,500. So 5,500 is in between these two. Okay, so if I did half of the 1,000 feet decrement, if I went down by half, then instead of going down by 3, I'll go down by half of 3. So it's going to be, instead of 11 minus 3, it's going to be 11 minus half of 3. Half of 3. Okay, what is half of 3? 1.5, right? So it's basically 11 minus 1.5, because it's not to get to 5,500, which is in between here. You don't do a full 1,000 degrees. You have to go up by 500. So it's half. So instead of going a whole 3, instead of dropping by a whole 3 degrees Celsius, we're going to drop by half of 3, which is 1.5. So 11 minus 1.5. You can write 11.0 minus 1.5. So 10 minus 5 is 5, and then 10 minus 1 is 9. So 9.5 degrees, and the answer is C. Alright, so that's that. Alright, let's take a look at, okay, that's basically that for Algebra 1. Since this video says I'm going all the way to 60, let me just do the question number 60, okay? So question 60 is an absolute value expression involving substitution. It says if a is negative 2, then absolute value of 5 minus a minus absolute value of a minus 8 is equal to what? So basically we plug in negative 2 for these two, and then solve it, okay? We're going to go 5 minus, instead of a, negative 2, minus 5, instead of putting an a here, you put negative 2, minus 8, and then we simplify this, okay? So here you have 5 plus 2 minus 2 minus 8. The signs are the same, you add and keep the sign, minus 10. 5 plus 2 is 7, minus absolute value of 10, okay? So what is the absolute value of 7? Some people think it's opposite. Absolute value is how far is 7 from the 0 on the number line. 7 is 7 units from 0 on the number line, so 7, right? Minus. What is the absolute value of negative 10? On the number line, negative 10 is 10 units away from the number line, okay? So we're going to have 7 minus 10, which is simply negative 3. Your final answer is B. Okay? Alright, so that's that. Please do subscribe to my page so you can get new updates on next videos that are coming up. And thanks for paying attention to this presentation.